The Logitech MX Master series of mice have gained a bit of a cult following over the years. Widely regarded as the best productivity mouse, you'll find people singing its praises in every corner of the internet. And for the vast majority of people, it is an incredibly good mouse. It feels good in the hand, it moves on a lot of different surfaces, it clicks, scrolls, and helps you be more productive. But to me, that's just what a mouse is supposed to do. I've never really cared about mice, I'm a trackpad kind of guy, and I've gotten really good with it. But a little over a year ago, I was looking for ways to speed up my editing workflow, and I came across the MX Master 3S. I of course knew about this mouse and heard everything about it, but I never really cared until I realized how much you could customize it and what that meant for my editing. So I bought it. And suddenly, my editing was getting a lot faster. Ripple deletes got a lot easier with the click of a button thanks to the ability to map custom shortcuts to each button. I only really use a mouse while editing. For me, it's a tool for that specific use case and scenario. I use the trackpad the rest of the time. And then my mouse died. It just stopped clicking. Like the main function of a mouse no longer worked. And I reached out to Logitech to see if they could repair it, and unfortunately, there are no repair centers in my country. So I waited, knowing that the MX Master 4 was coming out eventually. And sure enough, it did, and all the hyped reviews came out saying how great of a mouse this was, and I bought it on launch day. And that's when I quickly realized, this mouse doesn't make sense. The MX Master 4 and 3S are identical in basically every way. They keep all the same sensors, which means that they both max out at 8000 DPI and they both have a polling rate of 125 Hz. You're definitely not going to want to game with this mouse because gaming mice have around 1000 Hz or more. But that's not what this mouse is for. Previous iterations of the MX Master series were criticized for not holding up long term, getting scuffed and scratched and dirty. I personally didn't think it was that bad, but you can see some wear and tear on my own mouse as well as definitely on my partner's mouse. And that's where the first difference comes in. Material choice. Logitech claims that this new material will last longer, hold up a lot better, and have your mouse looking a lot prettier long term. I guess that has yet to be seen, but cool. It's also physically just a little bit bigger, which is enough for me to notice that ergonomically it doesn't sit as well in my hand as the MX Master 3S. The next difference, clicking is apparently a lot quieter on the new mouse. And while yes, I can confirm that after recording that test for this video, in day-to-day usage, you're not gonna tell a huge difference because the 3S was already so quiet. Another difference is the padding on the bottom of the mouse. Logitech claims that this makes for a smoother overall experience, but I found the opposite to be true. I don't know if it's because of the padding or if I've just broken in my old mouse a lot more, but the MX Master 4 just doesn't glide the same way that the 3S did. And I've also found it doesn't work as smoothly on slightly more difficult surfaces. The 3S works perfectly fine on this unfinished wood desk, but I need to change the surface for the 4 so it's actually a smooth experience. On the inside, the MX Master 4 has a brand new 650 mAh battery compared to the 500 mAh battery of the 3S. While that does sound like it'll make this mouse last significantly longer, they both tout the same 70-day battery life. And that leads us to the main selling point of the MX Master 4, the brand new haptic feedback in the new button. Yes, that's right, there is one additional button on the MX Master 4, and it vibrates just a little bit to make you feel fancy. It also means that they've moved the gesture button up next to the forward and back buttons and pushed those two back. So now they're in a more awkward position for your fingers. Not great for ergonomics if you ask me. When you click that new button, you'll see this new wheel appear, and depending on what application you're in, different options will show. Now, in theory, I'm all for this. It's a new feature that can be customized to your heart's content and can speed up certain actions and workflows. But in reality, I've had no luck when it comes to the main application I use for editing, DaVinci Resolve. When I enable the action ring, right off the bat, the options aren't great. The vast majority of actions just save me from moving my mouse down and clicking on a new page. So it's not offering anything that actually speeds things up. the worst part is that nothing actually works. I thought, okay, maybe it's just having trouble switching between the different pages. Maybe if I go to the color tab and enable new nodes, maybe that will work. Maybe that's just the issue. But that doesn't work either. So I went down the rabbit hole trying to fix this. I updated all the firmware, I updated the software on my computer, I updated the software on my mouse, I changed all the settings on my mouse, I enabled the action ring, I disabled the action ring and then re-enabled it. I made sure every possible situation was accounted for, and it still wasn't working. I went on the frequently asked questions page on Logitech's own website, which only seemed to support Adobe applications, which was really frustrating. But then I finally went to the DaVinci Resolve download on the Logitech store, and this is what I found. It says you need to be using an American-based QWERTY keyboard and have all the default settings for DaVinci. I know so few people who keep everything default in DaVinci. If you're doing any kind of editing, you're constantly going and changing keyboard shortcuts to fit your workflow and speed things up. And so the fact that this mouse can't actually do anything unless you go back to default settings kind of renders it completely useless in DaVinci Resolve, which sucks. So I've just mapped the action ring to the shortcut to create a new node when color grading, because that's the thing that matters to me most. It really is unfortunate because Adobe Premiere seems to get the way cooler functions in this action ring that are far more useful. I don't know why this mouse can't communicate with DaVinci Resolve for certain things, but here we are. Lightroom, however, is a very different story. It functions beautifully, and I really appreciate how easy it is to dial in all these changes on the fly. It is far more fun using the scroll wheel to dial in my settings than the sliders. This is the kind of functionality I would love to see in DaVinci Resolve, because then this mouse would replace speed editors, and that would be so incredible. But the fact that this has been pushed so hard as the main upgrade of this mouse irks me, because it's basically purely software based, and I think it's really annoying to have to buy a whole new product because of a software update. But what's this? The old 3S actually gets this software update? You get all of the same functionality and customization of the new mouse just without the vibrating motor? And that's where this mouse makes no sense to me. Everyone's talking about how this mouse has been upgraded in so many different ways and they've done this and that, but honestly, I think the MX Master series has just kind of plateaued. It's a mouse. It works. Its main selling point is software customization, which the older mice get access to. And for $120, there are better options out there that come in significantly cheaper. This mouse feels like the embodiment of a meeting that could have been an email. Yeah, it's cool, we got some quality of life tweaks, but nothing game changing. So if you're thinking about buying this mouse, I would highly recommend at least looking at the previous iterations of this mouse, like the MX Master 3S, or something from Keychron, where they have a lot more affordable options, but with some amazing functionality and specs. So if I hadn't already made it clear, my thoughts on this mouse are that it exists, and you can buy it, and it's perfectly fine. I wanna know what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section down below. My name is Mark Steiner, and I will see you next time.